In this video, I'm going to show how I knit two sleeves at the same time using one circular needle and a magic loop technique. My tension can be sometimes inconsistent, even depending on the mood, so I can end up having two different sleeves, but if I knit them together, then they will always be symmetrical. When I worked on my sweater, I switched to this just a couple of rounds after separating the sleeves, but at the time I didn't think of filming, so I'll be showing this method when my sleeves are already long and I'm about to begin the ribbing. Hopefully this video will help a beginner knitter because it may feel a bit intimidating, but in fact it's really easy to do. I have one sleeve here. This is the long cable that I will use to knit two sleeves together. My needle tips are on the right, and I've completed 119 rounds so far, and I need to finish just a quarter of a round to make it 120. And then my other sleeve is exactly the same. My two needle tips are on the right, and I also completed 119 rounds, and I just have to finish this last quarter of the 120th round. So I will join both sleeves and I will knit them together on this very long cable. So here is what I will do first. I will first finish my 120th round. The right needle tip comes out and I'm doing magic loop. I will first knit until the marker. This is my marker with the row counter. I finished 120 rounds. This was the end of the 120th round, and I'm going to knit just a bit more to finish all the stitches on this side. So I've completed this side for this sleeve. I'm pulling out the cable of the left hand needle tip, so it's out of the way. And I will continue knitting with the same right hand needle, but I will continue knitting the other sleeve. At this moment, it's very important to separate the yarn. This ball is for this sleeve and this one for this. Make sure you don't use the same ball for both sleeves, otherwise they will get attached to each other and that's not good. So I'm taking my right needle tip here, and instead of using this needle, I'll be using this one. So I'm taking the working yarn and turning the other needle of the left sleeve a little bit so it's more convenient, and I'll make my first stitch. The other needle I use just for the gauge until I make a couple of stitches. So now I can take out the old needle and keep it out of the way, and I will continue knitting all the way until the end of this side. My marker, a couple of extra stitches just to secure the marker, and I will make a note that I finished 120 rounds. Now both sleeves have 20 and 20. So on both sleeves I have 120 rounds. And I'll finish up all the stitches on this side. I have finished this side. I pull out the cable of the left hand needle tip to continue with magic loop. Now I'm going to turn around. This is what I'm going to do. I take the first ball and place it here. Take another ball and place it on the other sleeve and flip the sleeves around like this. This is the yarn for this sleeve, and this is my yarn for the other sleeve. And I tuck in the left hand needle tip, pull out the right hand needle tip, and continue my magic loop. So I'll just continue knitting until the end of this sleeve. I finished knitting this side of the first sleeve. That's the yarn I used for the sleeve. It's important not to get confused, not to mix up the two balls. I'm pulling out the cable a bit to continue with the magic loop. And guess what happened? I can take now away the other sleeve's needle because it's finished. I no longer need it. Now I have my two sleeves on one circular needle. That's the first loop of the magic loop. Two tips. And that's the bridge behind. And that's another loop of the magic loop. Again, because I'm switching to the sleeve on the left, it's very important to use the yarn from the ball of this sleeve. Not that one, this one. So I take the working yarn, bring the stitches closer to both tips, and here I just slightly turn the cable like this, so it's easier to work and to see what I'm doing, and make my first stitch. Tighten here a little to avoid baggy stitches. And I will knit all the stitches on this side until the end of the needle. So I finished one side. I will pull out the cable of the left hand needle tip to continue with the magic loop. Now I have my two needle tips on the left and the loop of the magic loop on the right. And here both sleeves are connected by one cable like this. To turn around, I again place the balls of yarn on their sleeves and flip. So I have two needle tips on the right now. This is my yarn from one ball for this sleeve. my two sleeves. They're connected like this. That's the other ball. And that's the loop of the magic loop. And every time I reach a marker here, I will make a note. And when I reach another marker here, I'll make another note. That's how I keep track. And I'll just continue working like this and around, as if it were one piece. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great time knitting, and I'll see you in the next one.